Good evening. Welcome to this episode of NTV People's Parliament. My name is Betty Mudondo, and I am speaker today. We are here at Teachers House, Bombo Road, here in Kampala, to discuss a very crucial matter in the education sector. And today we are looking at early pregnancies, especially in the school setting. Honorable members, feel free today to clearly explain all that is at your heart about teenage pregnancies. Statistics have showed, numbers are showing that we have a high rate of school dropouts due to early pregnancies in schools. And with me here, I have this particular guideline, and these are the revised guidelines for the prevention and management of teenage pregnancies in the school setting in Uganda. Thank you so much, honorable members, for coming today for this engagement. And at this particular moment, I am going to take this opportunity to welcome a honorable member seated amongst us to give us statistics and numbers on what exactly we are looking at. Honorable member from Star Uganda, please come and take to the floor of the August House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to take the House through the guidelines for the prevention and management of early pregnancies in schools. So I just wanted to start with what you asked for, which is the why of the guidelines. So to give some little bit of history, the original guidelines were done in 2015, but then in 2020, because of the COVID challenges, they were reviewed. So the current guidelines that are running the education sector in Uganda are actually the 2020 guidelines on the prevention and management of early pregnancy in schools. Yeah, that one. And so I just want to start with the why, and these are the numbers that the speaker asked for. The first number that I think we should be interested in is that the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in 2017 did a study, and they found that 35% of girls below the age of 16 had actually been engaged or involved in what is called sexual violence. That's the first number. So 35% of girls below 35 are already sexually assaulted by 16. Second number, 25% of girls in Uganda become pregnant before the age of 18. So that is 20. For every 100 children you see, 25 of them have actually had pregnancy before the age of 18. The third number, which was the COVID number, because of COVID and the way things were working, it moved to 30% teenage pregnancy. Because of all that, that led to the increase in school dropout rates. And so the current number that is being used is 40% of girls leave school due to pregnancy. Just imagine you have 100 children and 40 of those will become school dropouts because of pregnancy alone. After seeing all this challenge, the ministry thought it wise to come up with guidelines that would solve the challenge of 1, prevention, 2, management of early pregnancy for girls in school. And so there are about 4 areas that these guidelines are on. The first part is on prevention. The second part is on management. The third part is on the father. So because you see now they are dealing with the girl, okay? The first 2 parts are dealing with the girl. But now in the guidelines, there is also the issue of what about the boy or man who impregnated the girl? The guidelines are very clear on 1, each school having a health committee, school health committee, that is in charge of tracking cases of pregnancy and prevention and management and reentry. So every school should be having that committee within the school. The second thing is conducting sexuality education and teaching life skills to all learners. The third is the teachers employing learner-centered teaching and learning methods to deliver age-appropriate, very important, gender-sensitive, culturally accepted sexuality information. All those are key areas. Number 4, the school creating early safety nets for prevention of early or unintended pregnancy in school settings, including enforcing school rules, campaigns, or supporting mechanisms for abstinence. As I say all these things, the question should be, are these things in your school? Or are they just in the policy but you're not seeing them in the school? The other issue is The school creating linkages and reporting mechanisms, including legal systems, to redress the offender. So does your school have a system for legal, do they even know the system for reporting a pregnancy case in the school, going to either LOC or going to police? Who do I go to? Do I go to the LOC1 chairman or do I go to the police? So there is that aspect as well. The school being able to link the issue in the school with the legal system. And then engaging media to promote prevention messages for teenage pregnancies. I think this is one of those engagement areas. The school creating school health clubs and using life skills champions, including whoever got pregnant for prevention of teenage pregnancy. So the girls who got pregnant during COVID, when they came back, were they used as champions to counsel other girls to keep away from being pregnant? Or were they labeled bad people and that was the end of the thing? So those are the issues under prevention. Now, under management, the first thing, of course, is having that committee. The second thing is all girls should be examined for pregnancy periodically, at least once termly, and at 12 timetable timelines. I think that's what most of the schools are doing. At least most schools are doing the tests.
Honorable members, are the schools doing the tests? You're saying yes, and I'm going to call you to clearly elaborate on that later on, because we want to know. The policies are here, Honorable member is clearly identifying, but are the schools doing these tests? And they say yes.
Okay, thank you, Speaker, Madam Speaker. Number 2, when a girl is discovered to be pregnant, she shall be counseled, and the guidelines for retention or continuation at school and re-entry after pregnancy shall be discussed. So when a girl is found pregnant at your school, is she counseled or is she given an expulsion letter? I'm just giving questions for us to discuss. Because that's what the guideline is saying.
Honorable members, you're saying? Are the girls, is there re-entry for these girls or they are being expelled? But the policy is very, very clear. It calls for re-entry. The revised guidelines call for re-entry. So today we are going to understand. By the time we delve here, we shall be ambassadors, not so? We shall be ambassadors training about re-entry. But even then, we are going to focus on prevention before the re-entry. It's the main focus this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Number 3, the girl's parents or caregivers shall be summoned to the school for the disclosure of their daughter's pregnancy status and to receive counseling. You see the reason why they are being brought to school? To actually counsel the girl. What I'm seeing in most schools is when the girl is found pregnant, you just bring your suitcase and off you go. The parent doesn't even know that you're even coming as the daughter. And now the question is, where does the child go after being discovered pregnant? To the man who made her pregnant. Those are things we need to think about. There's a policy, there's a guideline on one hand. Is that what we are doing in our schools? Number 4, the school and the parent or caregiver shall enter a signed agreement for the girl to re-enter school. Very important. These things are all over. Just go on Google, type in guidelines for pregnancy prevention and management in schools. You get the whole thing, the copy that the speaker has. They are all there. Is that what we are doing? Number 5, the health committee, including a health worker from a nearby health facility, shall ensure that the parents or the caregivers and the girl receive more than one counseling session. When it is reported or rumored that a girl is pregnant, she should be tested alongside other girls to avoid stigmatizing her. That's very important. The girl should be assisted to obtain a medical report that will serve as an official documentation of the pregnancy. The pregnant girl shall be put on a counseling program. The school shall establish clear communication channels for other learners to report pregnancy or rumors. The girl should go on mandatory maternity leave when she is at least 3 months pregnant. So the guideline is very, very clear on when does the girl leave the school. The moment she makes 3 months, she goes on maternity leave and returns after giving birth. Very important. So there are a number of issues around management that would be, I would love that all of us go through. I don't want to spend all the time on this one. I just want to go to
and honorable member, where does that leave the boy?
Now that's where I'm going. The boy.
Yes.
Now the third part of the guideline is on the father actually. So the first part is the fellow learner as a father. If a fellow learner is responsible for the pregnancy, he shall be counseled and his parents or caregivers invited to the school for counseling. Both the boy and the parents or caregivers will sign a committal statement to support the girl and the baby. That's part one. So if both of us are learners, then even the boy who impregnated the girl should be brought to the school, and the parents of that boy brought to the school, and they are given counseling. That's the first part. Two, the two parents, the parents of the boy and the parents of the girl, need to sign a commitment letter that says, yes, the girl is pregnant. Both parties, both families are going to look after this girl and the child that she produces. Is that what we are doing? I don't know. So that is the first part. Number two, similarly, the school shall develop all strength and mechanisms of following up with the girl till she delivers and returns to school. The PT and SMC shall also play a role of home visits to the pregnant girl or young mother's home. Number four, the boy shall also be given mandatory leave at the same time the girl goes on leave. Meaning that if I make a girl pregnant and both of us are learners, when the girl goes on leave, even me, the father, I go on leave, because we are both parents of this other child who is going to be given birth to. So it's very important. Are we doing it? I don't know. That's something that the House is going to discuss. I don't know.
Honorable members, I'm hearing a number of discussions. You don't agree with going on leave? We're having two parents. So let the honorable member give us his preamble, and because I'm hearing discussions in there, I'm coming to you, honorable members.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
As we wind up, honorable member, just tell us what happens if this father is an outsider in one statement, what happens if the father is a teacher in one statement, and then we shall please wind up and have the honorable members come to give their views.
If the father is an outsider, the PTA or school management committee, or in this case, the board of governors for secondary, shall play a role in tracking down the person responsible for the pregnancy. If the person responsible is an adult, legal action should be taken against him. That is, you are a father and an outsider of the school. Now, the last part is the father is a teacher. If the father is a teacher, then the teacher should be expelled and legal action taken appropriately. Those are the guidelines. The last part is on re-entry, but it's a lot. I don't want to go in. I will take a lot of time.
I will give a
the
brief
guidelines
on the re-entry
that we have as of now. So the question that I would give is, do we have on one hand guidelines and the practice is different, or are we doing what the guidelines are saying? Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you so much, honorable member, for that submission. And like I earlier said, all these guidelines, all these preventions are out here. Go onto the website of the Ministry of Education and get your copy of these guidelines. They are clear. He clearly talked about the commitment forms. He talked about commitment forms of re-entry, what happens to the father if he's a student, what happens if it's a teacher, and they're all here. And also the parents are involved. So this afternoon, I would like to hear the parents. If you're a parent of a boy child, and they brought this young boy back home, and he has to be a father and take paternity leave, because the mother, you said, oh, we have a parent saying, immediately after the break, we are going to come back and we shall be delving back in there to understand what stakeholders, what teachers, and what the learners think about these guidelines. We're talking about the revised guidelines for the prevention, mostly, and then the management of teenage pregnancies in the school setting in Uganda. Thank you so much for watching NTV People's Parliament. My name is Betty Mdondo, and I'm the speaker. Stay tuned. Thank you for those who are watching from home and those who have joined us here physically. The conversation continues after this break. Welcome back from that break. You're still watching NTV People's Parliament with me, your speaker, Betty Mudondo. And today we are discussing a very crucial topic, and that is preventing teenage pregnancies in the school setting in Uganda. But with me still, I have guidelines for the prevention and management of teenage pregnancies in the school settings in Uganda. And these guidelines have been clearly elaborated and explained by a honorable member in the first segment. So we are here to understand, are these guidelines actually being followed in schools? So teachers and parents here, you're most welcome to the floor of the August House. Feel free to put up your hand and I'll gladly pick on you, because earlier I could hear the mamas down there and people are wondering, Yes, Honorable Member, please come and take the floor of the August House. As she comes, I would like to clearly state that I'll be giving 2 minutes to each member. So when you come, please be precise, air out those views so that another member can have the same chance like you to speak out and air their views and speak directly to the microphone. Thank you so much, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and the August House. My name is Sisi Namatovu, Honorable Sisi Namatovu from Children at Risk Action Network, CRANE. Thank you so much. First of all, I see a conflict between the policy guidelines and other legal tools or frameworks. One, it talks about a father when is a learner being cancelled. However, Children's Act is very clear. Defilement is a criminal act where there is a punishment. It has to be taken to the courts of law, provided this is a child who is above 12 years. Because according to the Constitution, that is the age of criminal liability or responsibility. So isn't there a conflict? Because now when we talk about counseling, and yet the other side of the law talks about taking this child through the legal system, where they will be taken to police, to the courts of law, the remand home, until the final destination, which is the rehabilitation center in Kampilingsa. So there is a challenge. We are not coordinated when you are coming up with these policies. Secondly, these policies are very good. However, are they disseminated to the ground? Do the teachers know these policies? Are they in schools? They are not there. We talk about these things, but they are not known anywhere. Then on prevention, I've seen linkages and reporting mechanisms. We have a challenge because that is my role as a safeguarding officer. On a daily basis, I come across cases. But children will tell you, I went to a teacher, I reported, especially when it involves a teacher. So a child reports a case to a teacher, maybe a fellow teacher or the head teacher. But what we are so much concerned about is protecting the name of our school. Please don't talk about that. Let's sort it out as a school, as the setting of the school. However, the child is not supported because this teacher has to be taken through the legal system, but they are not. According to the annual police crime report 2024, 88 pupils were defiled by teachers and 190 students. So pupils are in primary, then secondary, there are 190 who were defiled by teachers in schools. That was in 2024. However, that is the list number that is reported. Many of them are not reported. So the teachers, the schools are so much concerned about protecting the image of the school than helping this girl who has been defiled. I submit. Thank you so much.
But I'll still pose the question to the teachers. Are we protecting the image of our school at the expense of the learners that we are tasked to teach, also guide? Are we, teachers? Are we going to defend ourselves now? They won't defend it. Why wouldn't they defend it? Please, Honorable Member, come and tell us why teachers won't defend it. I would like to know, because it's sure they won't defend. Because we send these children to school to be educated, to be highlighted and enlightened on these guidelines. Then why don't the schools come out? Because the laws are clear.
I'm Honorable Kakemba Amos. I'm a parent. I work with the teachers. I work here at the Secretariat. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. But I've seen some of the issues that are mentioned, starting with what you've just said. Madam Speaker, we have a challenge, especially most of the schools, leave alone the private, even those of government. They always want to keep their image secretly. Even if it is like, you call it like, even if we go to churches, a choir member can be pregnant, but they can fidget around to protect the image of the church. I'm using the church, not the mosque, because I'm mostly in the church. And I'm in administration, I'm an elder in the church. But now the issue that we have just mentioned concerning that, if we could all as a community, as stakeholders, we are to be standing together, because these days you can meet, I meet children, even I don't know this unit from here, but there is a school just near here. You meet them showing that the girl is, as a grown-up person, I can tell that you are relating. I look at you, but if I think of should I intervene? So the community has not come out. When it gets to parents, parents have not been examples to these children. I think the people who did that statistics should have a chance of probably going away from the city center, or if you can say the region around. If you go outside or in the West Nile, she talked of the eastern region. There is one who mentioned the eastern region. I know what is there because we move throughout the country. On the islands, you find that most of the parents, it is like a vicious cycle. Most of them never went far. The child has no one to emulate. No role models in the family. You ask him, who has ever gone at the university in your family? No one puts up their hand. So what will be the motivation to this child? If a child can be from day one admiring to be like a daddy, if I may say, or mommy. Mommy dropped up on the way. Now what will mommy tell to the daughter? A case should be that this young man, I always told my boys, I have grown-ups. I always told them, please, the moment you make a child pregnant, never even bother to give the contact to the police, because I will not come to rescue you. They will take you to prison. That's what I was telling my children. But some parents even give condoms to their sons. So I was like handling them in the army way. But he has made it, and they have succeeded. The girls, I was always telling them, please, the way forward, the moment you make a mistake and sleep with a man, please don't tell me of the use of condoms. Please don't go there. Don't try it. That was the message. The moment you succeed, it is for your own benefit. If you fail on the way, the chances are, I'll ask you, do you still want? If you want, the first can be a mistake. The second will be a habit. I will not help.
That is a parent for you. You had that parent, honorable members. Thank you so much, honorable member. Thank you very much for clearly stipulating that. But also, at that point, I still want to reach out to the students. Are these life skills being taught back in school? I want to understand. Please come and take to the floor and tell me what your school is doing on teaching you about these life skills and what your parents are doing on teaching you these life skills. Because then you will be a good ambassador when you go back to your school. Honorable member, please take to the floor of the August House and tell us.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The August House. I am by the names of Kasasa William Trevor from St. Chizito Secondary School, Bugolobi. Now, in my school particularly, they, teachers and also the administrators, have an iron arm on enforcing these values in us. Honorable Speaker, during Thursdays, it's a must, all of us in the whole school, to be in clubs. If not, on Thursday, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because if you're not in club, it means that you have also other things to do outside. Hence, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I would also request to also utter out my views. Honorable Speaker, if we drive this thing down to the unit level of the government, that is a family. Honorable Speaker, our parents are driving away from the culture, norms, and values in the name of the generation. Here, we have the generation called the Gen Z, whereby each and everything in the generation is normal. For example, use of drugs. You can meet a person and they greet you properly, wagwan, how are you doing? And the way, the audacity they have shows you that they are either high or they are not once, not twice been using drugs.
Honorable member, language, high flying, high.
I'm sorry, high in the way that they are not in their stable mental sense. They are
I thought high flying, but it is okay, honorable member. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
Okay.
And also to the parents, I would love you to please help us to go through this education system. The journey is not easy, but please do not run away also from these cultural norms, because long ago from the 1900s, these cultural norms have been the value to build you. You also have to use them to build us so that we can continue with the system. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. And at this point, I also want to clarify that still about sensitization and community engagements, we have partners and stakeholders in this journey where we are fighting and preventing teenage pregnancies, and we have JM Education and Research Center. We also have STAR Uganda and Kukuza Uganda. But then, still on the same, I would like to hear from the girls, because we are talking about teenage pregnancies in the school setting. Honorable Member, please take to the floor of the August House and give us your submissions.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Nansamba Shenta. I'm from Rock of Jehovah Secondary School. In God We Are Victors. I am here to present some of the challenges we girls face. There is a challenge of socio-economic factors, where poverty plays a significant role in early pregnancies among schoolgirls. In this I mean, we girls, if I try to tell my parent that I need this, and the parent maybe has not yet got the money to support me on what I want, and the boy cons me, I will just divert in order to get money. So this leads to sexual relationships for financial support and basic needs such as food and sanitary products.
Honorable Member, I can hear mamas in the house. Is there anyone at the point of information? Yes, Honorable Member. Because when I hear mamas, I know you have sparked discussion, so don't be worried. Don't be worried, Honorable Member. I'm going to protect you as a speaker. You're protected.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Mine is a question. Economic challenges, I believe, are also faced by the boys. Right, boys? The poverty that the girls are facing, also the boys are what? Are facing. What makes the girls confident that the boys or the men are the solution to their poverty challenge?
Honorable Member, if you're not in position to answer that question, I'm going to get you a defense. I get you defense because you're protected on the floor of the August House. We have a point of defense there from the Honorable Member. You're going to be protected, but we are going to keep on the facts as well. My sergeant at arms is serious. I'm going to give you only 30 seconds to defend, only. Because Mr. Theodore, Honorable Theodore is the...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We are talking about girl-child pregnancy, but in defense, even boys of recent, when they lack scholastic materials or needs, they have also resorted to going to sugar mummies who sponsor them, and they get the money and inject this very money to the girl child, who in turn becomes pregnant. Thank you.
Honorable Member, there's a Honorable Member here. He looks very sad, but do you have a submission? He has a submission later. Please, Honorable Member, first finish up with your submissions, then I'll call on to another.
It's just a continuation. There is economic instability, can also lead to transactional relationships where young girls engage sex for materials and goods, hence early pregnancies. Thank you.
And it's that point, I don't want to leave it hanging. I want a parent to help me understand. How did children get involved in economic issues? Because I have sent you to school with Graham. Parents, what aren't we doing? What aren't we doing right as parents? And then teachers. When you're at school, is it, are the canteens very expensive that these children need to sustain themselves in school for these economic issues? Because it shouldn't be a matter really of... Yes, Honorable Member, please take to the floor. It hurts to hear a 13-year-old expressing herself economic issues leading to early pregnancies. How did we get here? Are you paying school fees? Honorable Member, please help me understand and help the general public understand.
Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. I'm Honorable Margaret Mubiru. I'm parent. Now, I'm not on the side of my daughter here because we have boys, we have sons and daughters. As parents, especially mothers, we should raise children who are God-fearing. If it needs having an iron hand, yes. Why do you want to get 50,000 when I can afford only 10K? Why? You should counsel them. Let them not succumb to peer pressure. Tell them to get groups where they fit. Eh? If a boy can go to school, they come from the same family. Why do you say poverty? Counsel them and handle them with an iron hand. As a mother, get kiboko.
Parents, why are you being lenient with your children?
Birthday parties. A girl or a boy goes to a birthday party, especially these daughters. You don't know the family at all. You don't know where they are. The girl sleeps there.
Sleepover.
Sleepover. Birthday. We grew up without even a birthday, but we are here. But
you turned out right.
Birthdays.
And you turned out right, honorable member.
Yes. The mothers, be hard on your children, whether boy or girl. But now we are putting the boys there and the baby feeding the daughters. Get Chiboko as a mother. Lie down. Who is your friend? You have to know the friend. He can have a male friend, a boyfriend, but not for sleeping.
Okay, as we wind up, honorable member, as we wind up,
should not be tolerated. Be hard.
At this point, I'm going to take a very short break. NTV People's Parliament takes a very short break. When we return, we are going to delve into the tickling issue right now, which is teenage pregnancies in schools. And we are having the revised guidelines for the prevention and management of teenage pregnancies in the school setting in Uganda. We have a number of stakeholders, a number of partners, and among those we have JM Research and Education Center here, and we're going to understand how did we get here as a country and what can be done for us to get out together as a country. NTV Post Parliament takes a break, but stay tuned. We're coming back to you shortly. Welcome back from that break. You're still watching NTV People's Parliament with me, Betty Mudondo, as the Speaker of the August House today. We're here to discuss a very crucial topic in the education sector, and that is prevention of teenage pregnancies in the school setting. Yes, the revised guidelines talk about prevention and management of teenage pregnancies in the school setting in Uganda, but today we are going to focus on prevention. So thank you so much, honorable members, for all the submissions you gave in earlier. And we finished off at a very high point where our honorable member was walking to the floor of the August House, and I'll grant her that opportunity to give in her submissions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, my name is Joan Aja. I am a gender officer. I work with Uganda National Teachers Union. I am a teacher. I'm a parent. I'm a community worker. Things about education really touch my heart. I move a lot throughout this country, interfacing with teachers. Even last night, I'm coming from Chenjojo. I have a circle that I always, demonstrate with our responsibility in education system. And I put the child in the middle of that cycle. I'm a teacher, I would really demonstrate on a board here, but you would draw it in your mind. Put a child in the middle. I'm talking about the role of protection. Now, the next circle is going to be the parent and the community. This child has his own rights and responsibilities that they need to know it all the time, not emphasizing on their rights, but they should talk about rights and responsibility. Then the parent, we have a role to play, and we also double as community members. And this is a very critical role that we play to protect these children who are aware of their rights and responsibilities. That is in an ideal situation. Then it comes the teacher. The children come late to the teachers. You go late to school. A lot of formation has been done at family level. That protection at home, provided by your parents and the community, okay? Then now you come to school. When you reach to us, we have a responsibility. And for us, the advantage is we have a structure. We have a timetable that run the school business from the time you go to school.
You can wind up.
I can wind up. Then we have the government. The government have a big role. It has a framework. There are many policies. We have the Children's Act. we have this guideline we're talking about, but the guideline talks about prevention of teenage pregnancy and re-entry, okay? Meaning that we are first working hard to make sure we prevent this pregnancy. And that means our different roles of protection is covered or provided for. Now, this child who gets pregnant is now given a chance using this guideline to go back to school under also certain conditions. So you have to read this guideline and make sure that the school implement. So the government will look at all this, provide this. The teachers have their policies, okay? So all this, when you put together, we will make school an environment that we will all enjoy. I always like about school-community relations. Schools don't exist in a space, it exists in a community. So the community should support that school. Thank you so much.
We have a supplement. Please, Honorable Member, take to the floor. They would like to supplement that comment.
I am Lams Brian, a student of Rock of Jehovah SS from Namgoga, the other side of Nsagu. I would like to first react upon my sisters, the previous honorables' communication about the luring of them to go into sexual relationships for money. My dear, my fellow honorable, I just want to tell you one thing. In this life, you will never walk on a flat surface. Everything is gradual. So patience pains but pays. So supplementing on the previous honorable's speech on the circle of protection of a child, this is where I come with an outcry to all our parents. There is very, very intolerable reluctance of parents on their responsibilities. Parents are now taking their jobs as the biggest priority, leaving children at home with maids, not giving them sex education, which is so essential for their well-being and growth, not giving them counseling and guidance. And at the end of the day, dear parents, what do you expect from such a student you haven't given time? I would only wind up with the issue of asking for emotional support from the community and the teachers, then the fellow students and other concerned people. My dear parents, we request you to support us. You know, as adolescents, that transitional period, it is so disturbing, but guide us, never give up on us. For God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member, for that submission. Dear parents, the children are pleading with you to actually guide them. See, how did we get here? Who can tell me, how did we get here? Where children have to plead for parents to stay at home. We are still having the discussion here on NTV People's Parliament, and we're addressing the issue of preventing teenage pregnancies in the school setting. But then we are speaking about girls. I think I've had more male speak about this topic. Can I have a female honorable member to kindly give her submissions on this particular topic, preventing teenage pregnancies in the school setting?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. We have been talking about the prevention of early pregnancies among girls. And Madam Speaker, we see here there is no transparency between the parents and the children. So we emphasize that our parents should really be, the children, the girls, let's be transparent with our parents. Our parents should be able, they should be our friends so that we are able to tell them our problems and everything we are going through. So by this I mean that parents, please try to be nice to your children. For example, Madam Speaker, if you're to see in some areas, in the villages, some parents are really very harsh, and their children, they fear their parents. They fear to interact with their parents. They fear that maybe if I tell my parent this, they may get a stick and they cane me. So this can increase the rate of early pregnancy in the country. Honorable Speaker, are you aware that people lack awareness on these guidelines and policies? Not that everyone is aware about these policies.
Yes, I totally agree. And for the next speaker, I want you to help me and kindly make us understand how do we get these policies? How do we make the public to be more familiar with these policies? Point of supplement. You would like to supplement that people are not aware of the policies? Another point that she made. Let me first get a honorable member to tell us why these very, very important guidelines and policies are not out here for the public, are not out here for these students. They are saying that they have no idea. Honorable member, please come and kindly clarify on that. And also, please, before you leave the floor, help me tell them where they can get these documents, where they can actually download them and access them to be familiar with them. Should we print them as books, as novels in libraries? And we add BCP on top of the printing. Don't you think so? Yes, because I think they should be. Please, honorable member, give us your submissions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Fatuma Wamala, Executive Director, Kukuza Education, and also the lead of the Life Skills and Values Thematic Group with the Region Education Learning Initiative. I am passionate about values and life skills. And as you can hear from what we are discussing, at a critical point, it all boils down to our values system as a country, as a people, and at individual level of our learners, boys and girls, their life skills, right? The confidence, the problem solving, the critical thinking, how you maneuver tight situations, emotional intelligence. So that is why I'm passionate about life skills and values. But why aren't these policies in the hands of the people who need them most? The parents, the teachers, the church leaders. The subject is a feared subject. We need to face this fact. It's a feared subject. From a moral perspective, a girl getting pregnant has always been looked at as abomination, as dirty. There are so many myths around it, and when you bring it into the education space, it becomes very complex for all players to deal with. Then we have the cultural discourses. Now, most of our schools are, especially secondary schools, are founded by religious institutions. Muslims, Christians, and they have their own way of looking at things. So come with your pregnancy as a teenager. The environment is still very harsh. The handling, these guidelines, what can I say? I've been in this space for some time. I was sometime almost thrown out of an office, a government office, because of talking about education for pregnant girls. I was not talking about teenage mothers. I was talking about the girls when they're still pregnant, because I've done a lot of research. You can even go on YouTube and look for a documentary by one of my former employers, Girls Education Movement. There's a documentary on pregnancy. 1 second. You will learn from the girls themselves that re-entry is so hard when you talk to the girls who have gone through the pregnancy process. Re-entry is so hard. Now, when you talk to the few who have gotten an opportunity to be supported by the parents, the linkages, by the parents, by the school, to stay in school while they are pregnant and carry through. Not leaving school has been easier for them because they look back at all the support that they were given and they feel, no, they cannot disappoint all the people who supported them. It is easier for them to continue. But those who fall out, look at the guidelines are saying 3 months mandatory what? Maternity leave. It's an intersectoral issue because the health sector will come in, they are looking at the child, right? But for the girl to come back to school after 3 months, those will be 6, right? Plus the 6 months that the guideline says
nursing,
after.
feeding,
Nursing, that is a year. The reality of the poverty at home, the economic issues at home and the community, the social issues at home and the community will hit the girl so hard that re-entry becomes almost impossible. So that is why in one government official's office, I was talking about protecting the girl while she has gotten pregnant to keep in, right? And there are some models that are working. Go to Pade, Agago. There is a school that maintains the girls while they are pregnant. Not to mean that we are condoning the act of pregnancy and sexual indulgence outside union, right? But we are facing the reality of it has happened. How do we protect the most important thing, that is education? So why aren't these guidelines in the hands of the people where they need to be? There's a lot of discourse that we need to break. And this discourse is protected by very powerful people in our society, very powerful institutions in our society with whom we need to dialogue and say, let's be human. Let's look at this as a problem. Let's look at this as our daughters. I submit.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. The point that went home was people in very high offices, and I'll leave that to that. We shall come back to that. We have another point of submission. But for now, thank you so much, everyone, for watching NTV People's Parliament. We are coming to you from Teachers House here at Unatu Bombo Road, and we've been discussing a very crucial crucial points in the education sector, and this is preventing teenage pregnancies in the school setting. A number of stakeholders are here with us today to make sure that we end and avoid teenage pregnancies in the school setting. My name is Betty Mudondo, and I've been the Speaker of the House. Until then, next time I adjourn this House. All rise.